Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Praise the Most High. Good news. That was good news, Sister Grace, that you shared about your niece. That is wonderful news. Thank you, Sister Elaine, for playing that beautiful music. Appreciate that. Definitely miracle child. Amen. Miracle child. Today, I wanted to go further in what we talked about a little earlier in terms of the making of a wife and the making of a husband, um, the making of a pure virgin and the making of a virtuous man as well, honorable man. Today, in the world in which we live, I think we can agree that the devil, in the spirit of darkness, is seeking to and is successful at many times, unfortunately, taking away all the virtue and honor from boys and girls and all the innocence as soon as he can. He's doing this a lot. I think we can agree on that. He's taking away the innocence from children as soon as he can, so that young girls are losing virginity very early these days. And young boys are being exposed to perverted things at very young ages. And sometimes people think it's cute when a young boy can speak things that, when a little boy can speak things that some, like maybe a teenager or a grown person could speak, or a little girl can speak things that somebody her age shouldn't know about. But it's not really cute. It's actually dangerous. And we see it so often today that in the Bible times, it was expected. The expectation was that when a woman was marrying a man, that she had not had sex with a man before, that the man she was marrying would be the first one that she lays with. Okay? As a matter of fact, in the days of Israel, if a woman became a wife and it was found she wasn't a virgin, there was a problem. That woman's life might even be in danger. Let's look at it. Deuteronomy chapter 22. Of course, we'll go through this as we get up into this part of Deuteronomy. But in Deuteronomy chapter 22, beginning at verse 13, and go down to verse 19 from verse 13. Thank you, Sister Josie. The Bible says, if any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasions of speech against her and bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife, and he may not put her away all his days. Okay. Now let's continue down verse 20 and 21. Same thing, but let's read the next two verses. Let's see if it's true, if she wasn't a virgin. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of her virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put away evil from among you. So, if a woman that is a virgin is given to a man and he sleeps with her, and she is a virgin and he claims she's not, he's punished because he has brought up an evil name of a pure virgin of Israel in public. A man shouldn't do that. But if in fact she's not a virgin because she's had sex before and she lived in her father's house, that means she was sleeping around. Okay. Well, women in the days of Israel didn't really ride horses, sister. They didn't ride horses. They didn't ride horses. They basically rode on camels, and they rode basically in wagons, but they didn't ride horses. But this is, and what you're saying can happen, but it's not something that's normal. Okay. Woman doesn't generally lose her virginity that way, right? I think we can agree. Generally, a woman doesn't lose her virginity that way. There's one way a woman, it can happen, but I'm saying generally it's one way a woman loses her virginity. And if she were to lose it on a horse, I'm sure her parents would notice that, right? Okay. Now, but the point is that she's not supposed to have sex before she gets married, because she is a sign of the children of Israel, a sign of purity and holiness. And so she's not supposed to have sex before she gets married. And the man that goes into her is supposed to be the first and only man that she has, that she knows. Okay. But in the day and age in which we live today, by the time a woman is 21, she's not a virgin anymore. And I'm using that number, but I think we all agree it's probably much earlier than that, right? It's much earlier than that even, right? 12, 13, 14. But definitely by the time they're 18 of legal age, they're not virgins anymore. Okay? Pretty much. And so to find a woman that's a virgin today is almost impossible to find. So what's a man to do if he's going to be obedient to the word and have a woman that's a virgin? I guess nobody would be getting married because there are no virgins. And it shows you that whoredom is rampant on the planet today. It's a rampant thing. But we praise the Most High because he knows the state of the earth. He understands the proliferation of sin. And he has made provision for a woman to regain her purity. He has made provision, although she can never be a virgin again, he has made provision for her to become virtuous. He has made provision for her to become holy, for her to become pure. Because you could have a woman that's never had a man, and she could be wicked. She could be not worth being anybody's wife, though she be a virgin. Testing 1, 2, 3. Right? She could be not worth anybody's wife because in her heart could be rotten. She could be a virgin in body, but her heart could be rotten. But you could have a woman who was once a whore and has given herself to the Most High to serve him and kept herself pure and cleaned herself and kept herself from men and is devoted to the Most High, has been redeemed through the blood of the Messiah. And she can be a jewel of gold to a man. She can be virtuous. She could be holy and honorable, right? But in this day and age, there's a couple of problems. The first one is the obvious one that we spoke of, that most of the time, a girl loses her virginity long before she's ready to get married. Long before she's ready to get married, she loses her virginity. That's problem number one. Problem number two is, in our society, purity and holiness is not desired. Purity and holiness is not something that women and men actually look upon as something they want. A man today wants a porn star for his wife. Are you catching me? Testing 1, 2, 3. A man wants a porn star for his wife. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for a porn star. Oh, he wants her to dress modestly during the day, but at night he's looking for a porn star. That's what he's looking for. Okay. And a woman is looking to become that for the man. That's what's going on today. A woman is looking to become the porn star for the man. That's what's happening. Okay. And trying to please the men, they're becoming wilder and wilder. So that women will do almost anything. If the man wants to have two women, if the man gets off by having women kiss women, they'll do that. If a man gets excited by having sex in a woman's anal cavity, they'll do that. They'll do whatever and become whatever. And it shows you that we have a world that's filled with weak men. A world that's filled with men that are dishonorable. A world that's filled with men that are given over to lust to such a degree, it takes very perverted things to get them aroused. Huh? That's the world we're living in today. So first, a woman must decide she wants the purity and holiness of a virtuous virgin in Messiah, regardless of how society looks at it. Huh? A woman must make this decision. She must decide that she wants to be pure and holy for the Most High, regardless of how it looks. If they call her whatever, old-fashioned, if they call her prudish, if they call her whatever they want to call her, she has to decide that she's going to be this virtuous woman. Now, let me make sure I'm clear. There's no sin in enjoying sex. I want to make sure I'm clear. There's no sin in enjoying sex. There's no sin. The Most High invented sex. There's no sin in enjoying sex. So you might say, well, what's wrong with the porn star? Because the porn star is a whore. She's doing it for a camera. She's not even being herself. Porn stars are actresses. They're acting. I saw an interview where they did a series of interviews on retired pornography stars, women that did porn. And do you know what all of them had in common? They actually did not like the sex for the most part. They actually didn't like it. They were acting. The noises and things they would make, they didn't really enjoy it. They were just trying to do it for the camera. It was fake. And men are perverted enough to think that women actually like this. They don't like it. They don't like it. Okay. And it's degrading to a woman. It's very degrading. And so who wants to degrade the woman and it's degrading to the man for performing that on a woman? It's degrading to him too. So who wants to degrade man? The devil does. Somebody might say, well, it's the human body. I heard one woman say, well, it's the human body and God gave us the body and he doesn't want us to hide it. I beg to differ. We are supposed to get naked in front of each other in private, but not for the public to see. Okay? All right? Not for the public to see. The nakedness is supposed to be seen between the husband and the wife. They're each other's nakedness. But it's not supposed to be seen for everybody. And you're not supposed to have several men having you. That's horrible. Okay. No, I'm not. A woman doesn't necessarily have to be shy around her husband. She doesn't have to be shy around her husband. She, that's what I'm saying. It's no sin to enjoy sex. It's no sin to enjoy sex. The Most High invented it. And in fact, he said that's part of a man's duty. He's supposed to do that for a woman. Okay, he's supposed to, but she has to enjoy it too. She has to enjoy it. Okay. Okay. She can still be virtuous because she's only having that one man. Okay. All right. Okay. So now the woman has to decide she wants to be the virtuous woman of Proverbs chapter 31. Proverbs chapter 31 tells us, beginning at verse 10, from verse 10 down to verse, it's actually from verse 10 all the way down, but we're not going to read the whole thing. We're going to read verse 10 down to verse 13, and then we'll skip down to verse 27 down to verse 31. So look at what it says. This is what, now you're going to read the whole thing when you have a chance, but notice what it says. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Down to verse 27, to the end of the chapter. She looketh well to the ways of her household and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth Yahweh, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. There's a virtuous woman. There she is. She's a representation of the body of Christ. She's pure and she's holy and she's set apart. Okay? She's set apart for him. Okay? There's nothing wrong with a woman having a man, but she has to first be given over to the Most High, and she has to first maintain her virtue, her honor, and her purity. Testing 1, 2, 3. We got that. That's important. Okay, that's very important. That's why a lot of women cannot keep a man. Aside from the baggage they are dragging from past relationships and experiences, they don't keep the virtue and the honor in them. And they let themselves get dragged down to very low depths. And that's why they have trouble keeping a man. And some women are willing to do anything to have a man. And many women believe that since a man's ways are in his stomach and in his sexual parts, they feel like if they could just take care of both of them, no matter who it is, he'll stay with them. He'll stay with them for a while, but that's not going to keep him. The man has to be given over to the Most High first. He's got to be given over to the Most High. It can't be just any guy. He's got to be given over to the Most High. He's got to be a servant of Yahweh. He's got to love the Messiah and a covenant keeper. If he's not a lover of Messiah, if he's not a man after the character of the Father, if he's not a covenant keeper, he can't, no matter what, he's not going to be the right one for you. He's going to lead you to sin. This world is so messed up. Ladies just looking for a nice guy. It's so messed up. They're just looking for a nice guy, any nice guy. Okay. But we're looking for a guy that's a covenant keeper. Because you want to serve a man to the, and myself, I did not have a good example of husband and wife in my parents. I didn't. My parents were not good spouses. They just were not. It's just, it is what it is. I did not have a good example of how to raise children, how to be a good husband, a father from my father. I didn't have a good example of what a good wife should look like from my mother. I didn't. Okay. So I found when I came to the truth, when I came to the word, when I gave myself to the Messiah, I started looking at Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I was looking at their examples, their interactions with their wives, and how their wives interacted with them. And it seemed like the culture was such that, like, the woman didn't have to be taught what to do. Like, Sarah knew how to serve Abraham. Abraham knew how to deal with Sarah. They had it, like, it seemed to me like they just had it together. Okay. But I understood they had respect for each other. And when I read how Sarah called Abraham Lord, she said, "My Lord, shall he have pleasure?" She respected him that much. So she called him Lord. And then I learned over time that if a man handles the situation with his wife with honor and dignity, if he's faithful to the Most High, she have no problem serving him. She have no problem serving him. She have no problem cooking for him, cleaning for him. If he's a loving husband and he's faithful to the Most High and he gives her honor and respect and he does all the duties of marriage that he's supposed to very well and faithfully, she have no problem serving him. She doesn't. Okay. She have no problem cooking for him, cleaning for him, washing after him. She had no problem if he's doing all of these things faithfully. It's when he is not doing them. He's not faithful. He can't make decisions. He's not serving the Most High. He's not taking any stand for anything. She had a problem with him. She lose respect. She lose respect. Yeah, then she becomes a nagging wife. Okay. And a husband that serves the Most High will be faithful to a wife that is virtuous, that keeps herself with honor and dignity, that's not a gossip or a nagger, that takes care of her business and takes care of herself. Don't get it twisted. Woman got to show respect for herself. She got to take care of herself. She can't just let herself go any kind of way. I don't care what anybody says. A man is attracted by what he sees. And if she takes care of herself, he's going to respect that. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you hearing me? If she takes care of herself, he's going to respect that. She don't got to be Miss America, but she got to take care of herself. She got to have respect for herself. She got to take care of herself. Because if she doesn't, he's going to lose respect for her. Okay? And that happens. That happens today. Men and women start to disrespect each other. It starts to come out in their relationship with each other. It starts to come out in how they talk to each other. And then the marriage is broken. You see, brothers and sisters, what happens when we break the commandments of the Most High? Once we have known him and we have known the Most High, when we break them, we start to have feelings and urges that are stronger than our respect for his commandments, stronger than our respect and love for him. When we have an honor and respect to the Father, we won't go astray. And that's the thing. People start to disrespect each other. And after that, they start talking to each other any kind of way. I mean, my father and mother invented words for each other I never heard of before. They invented words to curse each other out I'd never heard before. So I wasn't surprised when, they didn't make it. Because I saw that was coming. But we have to have love and respect for each other. And brothers and sisters, yes, I did say earlier that the Bible not does not say a man needs to only have one wife. But at the same time, I will say a wife and a man, and when they're one-on-one, it's a development of character for both sides. There's no question. It's a development of character for both sides. It's development of character for both sides. Okay? It's a development. So, brothers and sisters, the husband, if you're a man and you want to be a proper husband, you have to be faithful to the Most High, faithful to his commandments, his statutes, and his judgments. You have to have his character of righteousness within you so that you have respect and mercy for your wife. You have to have respect for yourself. And you have to carry yourself with that respect because you are a temple of the Most High. Your body is his temple, husband. Okay? Although men act like dogs, the Most High teaches us not to be dogs anymore. That's why the Bible does say outside the city are dogs, because that's how men act when they don't have the Most High. They're dogs. A man will, and any woman will know that. If you've had dealings with men, I think you can agree they can be dogs. Testing 1, 2, 3. That's their natural action without the Most High. They're going to be dogs. There's no question about that. They're going to be dogs. You can't be surprised if you hook up with a dude that's not. Of course, a dog is a whoremonger. A dog will have sex with any other dog that's in heat. Any dog that's in heat. Don't matter how long he known the dog. The dogs known each other. That's not even important. That's right. So that's why he calls them dogs. So you shouldn't be surprised if you hook up with a guy that's not faithful to the Most High. He doesn't take a stand for truth of the word. Okay. He has idols, like maybe his church is his idol, or maybe money's his idol, or maybe he just think he's better than anybody else. He's conceited. If you deal with dudes like that, don't be surprised if they're dogs because you married a dog. Don't be surprised. Okay? Because that's how they're going to act, like dogs. The Bible calls men dogs. It does. Okay? A real dog, at least you have mercy on a real dog, because a dog is a dog, really. But a man that acts like a dog, that's not cool, man. That's not cool at all. Yeah. So, yeah, men, people are supposed to be people of honor and dignity. They have to respect themselves as the temple of the Spirit. They have to walk in the spirit of the Most High with the Messiah. Walk with their Father in truth. And when they have a woman, she must be a spiritual virgin. She's not going to be a physical virgin. That would be unrealistic in this day and age. But she has to be a spiritual virgin, which means she's keeping herself pure. She obviously has made mistakes. All women have made mistakes. All men have made mistakes. But a woman, she's not a virgin. She's obviously made mistakes, right? But that's okay. As long as she is covered by the blood of the Messiah, as long as she is committed to the covenant with her Father, as long as she's receiving that righteousness and she's walking in that spirit, you got something. You got something. Okay, you got something. But you have to pray to the Most High, husband, for you to be what you're supposed to be. And if you're single and you want a wife, for the Most High to bring that woman to you. You don't got to go searching for her. Adam didn't have to search for Eve. He realized he was by himself, and the Most High brought his wife to him. He did look at the animals and see that they all had spouses. They had mates, and he didn't have one. But the Most High brought his wife to him. He will present your wife to you in due time. But you have to be ready for your wife, husband. You got to be ready for her. And I'm not talking about sexually. Men think just because they sexually ready to have sex that they ready for a wife. That just means you're ready to have sex. You can have sex with any harlot, right? Does not mean you're a husband. No, he won't fall out of the sky. You're going to be presented to him if and when you are ready to have a husband. You'll be presented to him. He was just like Eve was presented to Adam. And people that are around that man, people that are around you will see. Okay. Wife. You have to be ready to be a wife, which means you have to be ready to take care of your business in your household. You have to be ready to support your husband. You got to respect him enough to be able to call him Lord. If you don't respect him like that, that you're willing to do anything for him, then you shouldn't be married to him. You shouldn't be with him. Testing 1, 2, 3. If you don't have respect for a man, don't marry him, because that disrespect will come out in the marriage and it'll break everything up. Don't do it. Yeah, please don't IM people in the room while we're in the room, please. Don't do that. So, yes, wives, make sure you respect that man. And not because he touches you the right way. We done been through that already. Testing 1, 2, 3. Because a man could touch you the right way and all your thought processes goes out the window. He could touch you the right way and in the right places. And then you can have sex with him. And he could do sex with you real good. And all of a sudden now you in love. And he got you. And you could be married to a demon. You don't even matter then because he got you. So make sure that you respect this man and you got to know him. Don't put your emotions in it. I'm speaking to the women especially, because the women are prone to have their emotions tied up into a man first. So don't put your emotions in this cat. Walk in principle in the spirit. And let the Most High show you who you're going to be introduced to. Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. The making of a wife and the making of a husband. That's what we're talking about today. The making of a spouse. A man should not be married if he's not working. Because a man is expected to provide some financial support to his wife. And if he can't do that, he shouldn't be married. Testing 1, 2, 3. That's part of the deal. According to the scripture. That's part of the deal. If he can't provide, he shouldn't be married. Okay? So he got to have something going on. And it don't matter what it is. He could be a garbage man. He could be a mechanic. He could be a window washer. He got to have something that he does. Paul was a tent maker. Got to have something. Peter was a fisherman. You got to have something. Okay? Got to have something. So if you don't got nothing going on, I mean, like I said, in this day and age, especially among the Hebrews, among the Hebrew men, let me tell you something very plainly. I'm gonna speak it plain to y'all. You guys know I speak it plain, and it's gonna be clean, Sister Grace, okay? It's gonna be clean, okay? Look here. Among Hebrews, the black man is the most hated man in the United States of America. There is no doubt. The black man is the most hated man in the United States of America. They try to destroy him, to bring him down, to crush him in many ways possible. And you can see the less paid men are the black men. The most unemployed people are black men. Black women make more money than black men. Okay? Because black women are treated better than black men are. That's the truth about it. People don't want to hear that, but that's true. There are more black professional women than black men professional. That's the way it is. So the likelihood of a black woman finding a black man that's on her economic level is like trying to find a woman that's a virgin. It's not going to happen. More than likely not going to happen. So generally speaking, she's going to be dealing with a guy that does either makes exactly what she makes or less. Because the black man are just, he's crushed, man. Okay. Yeah, I get that. And we could talk about that in a minute. I could talk about that. But that's the story. So, but the man has to be doing something. He has to be working somewhere. He has to be having a job, a trade, something where he's trying to get something going. You understand? It don't have to be, he don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer. He just has to be working, taking care of business. You follow me? Testing 1, 2, 3. He has to be responsible, taking care of business. Now let's talk about what Sister Grace just mentioned. She said, mostly in Maine, there's just white people. And that's true. I lived in New England, most of New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. That's mostly white men up there. That's all. There's very few people that are not white up there. I lived in New Hampshire for 5 years, and there's mostly white people up there. Okay. So what is going on? And then she said that black people moving to Maine, they say the crime rate skyrocketed due to blacks in Maine. Well, do they have any proof of that? Or are they just saying that? See, that's another thing we have to be careful of. The media likes to put stuff out and then claim it as true. Okay. So they'll make statements like, these Mexicans coming over here to the United States, taking all our jobs. That's what they say. And it's a lie. It's not true. But people will believe that. Okay. Now they'll say these black people moving here and all the drugs come with them. That's not necessarily true. They put that out there, though. Okay. They put it out there. Now, I will say this. Black people struggle. Okay. Black people struggle. They struggle everywhere they go. By and large. There are some successful black people. I know there are, obviously. But black people struggle pretty much everywhere they go. Pretty much. And they've been struggling for so long. When you get desperate to pay your bills, you just about do anything. That's why the truth, the teaching of the truth is the most important thing, brothers and sisters. Because the truth of the word, of the covenant of Yahweh in heaven will free all of us from all of these things that's being placed on us. You understand? It will free us from all this stuff. The truth of the gospel of the Messiah will free us from all the sin the devil has us trained out. He will. But we have to learn it. People don't know it. These churches aren't teaching it. Churches aren't teaching it. Okay? It's not being taught by these televangelists, and it's not being taught in the churches. So that's the problem. We got to know the truth, and we got to perform it by the grace of the Most High and show it and put it out there. Get it out there. The truth of the gospel, not this half gospel these churches preaching, or you got to join my church gospel. The truth of the covenant with the Father through the Messiah of the word. But the truth is the black man is the most hated man in America. He's the most hated man in Africa. He's the most hated man everywhere he is. That's the truth about it. And so the black woman is going to make more money than him. She's going to be better than him. But he has to be trying to get something going. There's not an excuse. Even though we're beat down, we still got to find jobs. We still got to work somewhere. You understand? Got to work somewhere. And that's not just black men. That's all men. There's no excuse for men that could get a job not to get one. All right? There's no excuse for that. So, sisters, if he's not working, that's the deal breaker. If he's not working, or he doesn't keep a steady job, that's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker. Okay? That's a deal breaker. Notice what the scripture says. 1 Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy chapter 5. Okay, 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Notice what the scriptures say. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. No, it's true. It's not just always black. but it is a lot of times. But yeah, it's not anybody, but it's principle we're dealing with. It's true. It's principle we're dealing with. So if a person's not working and he's not trying to get a job, I mean, sometimes jobs in some places, like where Brother Walter lives, he lives in South Carolina. South Carolina is one of the poorest states in the United States. It's one of the most rural states in the United States. It might be harder for him to get a job than somebody like me up here in Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., where jobs are all over the place. Okay? But he has to get a job, and he's going to get one, Brother Walter. I'm going to get a job. We're all going to get work, but he has to get a job, you see. We all have to get a job. But a guy that just wants to stay and play video games all day, or watch football, or anything besides get a job, and y'all know the difference, right? Y'all know the difference. That's a different situation. Or always has an excuse why they can't get a job when everybody else is getting them. Yep. So, brothers and sisters, that's what we're talking about. So a woman may not be a virgin, but she can become a virgin in Christ, in the Messiah. A woman may have been a harlot. She may have made mistakes, but her mistakes can be cleansed. She can be cleansed. But now both men and women have to give themselves time with the Messiah and with their Father to recover from all the garbage and the baggage that you have. Okay? Testing 1, 2, 3. You see, you follow what I'm saying? If you've been in a relationship that failed, you're going to have baggage from the relationship. There's no question. There's no way you're going to be one with another person. You're going to have had sexual relations and been one with another person in many years or months, or however y'all been together. And then y'all break up and you're not going to have no ramifications? Seriously? Come on. And that's why a lot of people can't keep a mate also, because they rushing to find the next one as soon as they done with the first one. They ain't giving themselves time to even recover. And they're always looking at the other person's issues instead of realizing you got some too. See, it's easy for us to point out the issues with the ex-spouse. It's not easy for us to point out our issues that caused the downfall of the relationship. Okay? That's why I always taught my kids, whenever you meet somebody and they had an ex, or they were married before, and they keep telling you about their ex, how nasty they were, how bad they were, run away from that person. Get away from them as quick as you can. Because that's a person that's got issues and not even dealing with their own issues. Every failed marriage takes 2 to tango. Testing 1, 2, 3. Every failed marriage takes 2 to tango. And so you got to deal with what is it that you brought to the table that caused the marriage to fail. And you got to deal with that with the Most High. You got to deal with that with the Most High. That's a large part of the problem today in the modern society in which we live. Too many people are so self-centered that they are just looking at themselves as supreme, and they don't see any defilement in themselves. And so they can only see defilement in other people. And so they keep jumping from one relationship to another, and they keep failing, and they keep blaming the other party. And they never get it. There are people, it's unfortunate, that die that way. They just live that way. And that's a sad thing. They live that way their whole life, and they die that way. And they never really ever woke up. Because if you could learn yourself in the mirror of Christ, the mirror of the Messiah, if you can look in that mirror and you can learn yourself, then you'll be okay to deal with the one that the Most High has for you. Huh? If you learn yourself. If you don't learn yourself, if you don't have a knowledge of you, you can't deal with nobody else. Huh? So you got to see what your issues are and how did they come about? Why do you have such a bad temper? Why do you are you so impatient? Why do you eat too much? What's going on with you? What's the situation? You got to deal with the Most High. He's the he's the ultimate therapist. You could talk to your father and he will show you. But the majority, 99% of the people don't even bother doing that. They don't even do that. Even if they go to a therapist, it's to talk about the other person. They lay on Dr. Phil's couch to talk about the other person, not about themselves. Huh? No, not about themselves. They talk about only about themselves in terms of them being good and helping them get better, but not about themselves really. When you come to the Messiah, you have to be repentant. And when you are repentant, that means you are turning away from your sin, which means you acknowledge that you have sin in your life. You acknowledge that you have fallen short of the glory of the Father. Right? And when you acknowledge that, you're ready to start healing. See, if you acknowledge your sin, your shortcoming, you're ready to start healing. And the Most High will ready to put his spirit and start to heal you then. And when he starts to heal you, you start to develop sense you ain't had before. You start to develop eyesight you didn't see before. And you start to be more ready to be somebody's spouse. Huh? You start to be ready to be somebody's spouse. But you don't declare yourself ready. No. You know when you're ready? When suddenly the Most High presents you, if you're a woman, he presents you before somebody. Or he presents a woman before you. And you're like, really? That's what he'll do. He'll present before you a virtuous woman. And if you're a woman, he'll present before you an honorable man. That's when you start. That's when he's telling you you're ready. People like to declare themselves ready and start looking on the internet. I think I'm ready now. See, that's your problem. You're not a judge. We're not a good judge to know when we're ready. Most High knows when we're ready. Until that time, we're supposed to keep seeking the Most High, keep seeking his spirit and his truth and his righteousness. And don't worry about when we're ready. He'll let you know. If and when, he'll let you know. Keep learning yourself, learning your strengths, your weaknesses, learning where you got to get him to take over because you don't let him take over. Okay. So, brothers and sisters, that's the focus. He'll let you know when you're ready. All you have to do is keep coming to him. Keep receiving righteousness. Keep seeking, if you're a woman, virtue and dignity. If you're a man, honor and dignity and respect for yourself and respect for the Most High that you serve. Your body as his temple, your mind as his dwelling place. Okay. Praise the Most High. Y'all got that? Testing 1, 2, 3. Y'all got it? Any questions? I'm going to turn off the recording, but I'm not going to turn off